Hey everybody, it's Rory from A&S Gear, and we're going to look at a stock today that comes with some parts that maybe confuse some people as to how to put it together or how to set it up when you get it home. So what I have here is the Tippmann gas-through dogleg stock. Now this particular stock has a hole in the bottom of it right here. There's a gas line or passage that runs through the stock, and then it comes out right here. So when you attach this to your gun, like so, you need to kind of reconfigure your line setup in order to accommodate the gas through of the stock. Now, once the stock is attached, it cannot bend. It does not articulate or move in any direction. It is just a fixed stock. But because of the shape, kind of a U, they call it a dogleg stock. So when you order this, you're going to get a bag of parts that look very similar to this right here. And some people are confused as to how to take these parts, put it onto their A5 and stock in order to make it work properly. So I'm going to tell you how to do that, show you how they go together. I'm kind of just going to visually set it up for you because once you understand how it needs to go together, it's not that difficult. So the first thing you're going to need to do this setup properly, obviously you're not going to use this anymore. This is going to come off the gun. You're going to have an adapter on the back here, so this is going to be a setup for a remote line. It's not a setup where you then can put the tank on the back here or something like that. This setup, done. This line setup, done. We're going to get rid of it. So this is what we would need to do. Inside your A5, coming up, your vertical adapter basically is what they call the tombstone. And once we remove this off, you can unscrew this reducer right here out of the tombstone, and it would make room for a standard reducer that you can screw into it. Now, I think what confuses a lot of people is the reducer that gets sent out in the package has a male quick disconnect nipple on it. You don't want that on there. You need to take this off of your reducer and mount the reducer into the gun without this. Okay, so this is just going to go to the side for now. So once this gets mounted up in here, this is gone, mind you, so we don't have this line set up anymore. You've got a couple different pieces here. You've got a 90-degree elbow. You've got two 90-degree macro fittings. And you have basically a male quick disconnect. It looks very similar to a one-way that you'd see on your tank, but it is not. It is just a quick disconnect fitting. So what we're going to do is after this is in, we're going to take our 90-degree elbow, not the macro fittings, just the street elbow, and we're going to put this in. Now, the problem you're going to run into, if you try to do this beforehand, set all these pieces up, when you go to thread this in, how do you know where everything's going to line up? So it is best to do one piece at a time. Get an idea. You can hand tighten them down, kind of see where they're going to line up, maybe make some marks on them, and then you can tighten them down. But this is going to go in. This is going to get threaded into the bottom. And you want the opening, or the port, to be perpendicular to the side of the gun. So sticking straight out 90 degrees from the side of the gun. So that's going to end up like this. Okay. Now you're going to take your 90-degree macro fitting, and sometimes these will be a fixed fitting like this, and sometimes you'll see them in a swivel. So either way, they work the same. You're going to thread this one in till it is facing backwards. Get that to kind of line up real quick. Of course, that's going to not want to stay in there. But that's okay. You get the idea. So that one's going to sit like this, right? So we have a macro facing backwards. We've got this set up so that we can articulate that in that direction. Once this is set up facing back here, you take this other 90-degree macro fitting and you put it into this port. And we're going to set this one up so that it is facing towards the other one. So we have this one set up going this direction, this one set up going this direction, and then we connect our hosing. Now, depending on how you want to set this up, you could actually angle this one up, and you could angle this one slightly up so that you can put a slight bend in the hose so that it's out of the way of the thumb switch. If you run them directly at each other, it's going to cross right over the top of your thumb switch, and it might make it a little hard to move that. But if you set them up so that they do kind of angle up, you could actually run these going like, kind of like this. But it's up to you. You can set it up any way you want. straight across, angled, arced. You can even arc it down this way if you wanted to. It's up to you. So you'll set that up right there. Now you've got this fitting. Now this extra one, the silver one that you see, you can put that right in the bottom here. And this is where you're going to connect the female quick disconnect section of your remote line. Now you actually get an extra one. If you remove this out of the reducer, it's the same piece. So they're giving you an extra one of these. If you don't like a silver one on there, you could actually take it out and put in a black one. Just like that. It's up to you. Same piece. Doesn't really matter which one you put in there. They both do the same exact thing. So that's how to set it up. It's actually pretty straightforward once you get the idea of where the things need to lay. Just looking at the parts, it might not make sense, but now seeing it put together, it's a very, very simple setup. Remove some parts, line some parts up, tighten them down, you're ready to rock. So this is how to set up the Tippmann gas-through dogleg stock with the parts that we supply for you. Those parts come with the stock, so it's not something extra you need to order. It's available through the website. Order yours now through ansgear.com.